Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is Hidden Messages in Media. I know it's not Wednesday. If I wait till Wednesday, I'm gonna forget again. Okay, we're ending this fucking course right now. This is Hidden Messages in Media. Today we're gonna be talking about social media, pathologizing of social media, and our world. Okay. I grew up in the 90s. We didn't have social media. It was lovely. We played outside safely. Nobody was trafficked. Well, I'm sure people were trafficked, but not the way they are now. Life was fun. Well, for some people. Anyway, all that to say is social media has very much changed the world in the past 25 years. That's it. That's all. 25 years. I've been alive for it. So I think it's an important thing to talk about. I have the book here, or the printout page. So I have a few prompt questions that we can go through, and I want to break down what pathologizing is, and how it is something that we do to ourselves using social media. Okay. Oh my God, I can't spell. Yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks. Okay. To pathologize is to regard or treat someone or something as psychologically abnormal or unhealthy. When we're thinking about social media and how it pathologizes us, we can think about these social. I mean, let's take TikTok. Even though, well, we'll talk about all of them, but let's talk about TikTok. The TikTok trends in particular. One person does something or uses a sound or pulls a prank, or what is trending right now? What is trending right now? I don't know. I'm not really on that side of TikTok. But anyway, there's different trends. We all know this. Okay, we've seen them. Even if you're not on TikTok, you've seen them on Reels or on YouTube Shorts. TikTok is the starting point for trends, and then everyone does the same thing but with their own spin on it. Okay. Pathologizing, first of all, I think it's pretty okay, whatever, never mind. You didn't ask for my opinion. But when we think about the pathologizing of behavior on social media, in the way that we all show up on social media, we can think about how much information about ourselves we're giving not only the world, but you pull it back and just think about whoever owns that app, the CEO. So let's think about Mark Zuckerberg. He owns Meta, which is Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook. In the very least, there's probably more. So think about how much metadata is the data collected on your data, okay? So think about how much metadata Mark Zuckerberg has access to with the ownership of those 3 platforms specifically. Just think about that for a minute. Now think about so when Facebook first came out, it was only for college students. It was back in the year 2005 or so. Maybe it was 2004. I think it was maybe, I don't know. It was around early 2000s. So the Patriot Act had already been signed. The Patriot Act was a federal, that's what happened. That was this giant thing that Dick Cheney put together and other people who were in the Bush administration. No, it wasn't George Bush. It was the cronies underneath him, because that's the thing. These presidents are puppets, okay? The puppeteers are the ones that really run the show. So anyway, Dick Cheney and what was his name? Carl what? What's dude's name? They were like the chief of staff for Bush. So anyway, they put together the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act, let me read to you about the Patriot Act. The U.S. Patriot Act, signed into law 2001 by President George Bush, aimed to deter and punish terrorism and improve counterterrorism efforts. The Act's full name is Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept... Is it an acronym? I love acronyms. I didn't realize it was an acronym. I do appreciate acronyms. Okay, anyway. Providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism act. Okay, so if you think about the Patriot Act being signed, so I never fucking knew this was an acronym. That's wild. Okay. Uniting and strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism act. Okay, so if we think of the word, as we're seeing right now under this jurisdiction, okay, I know a lot of people get really excited and nervous when I use that word. But that's why I tell you to watch V for Vendetta, which would have been last week if we were actually in class together. So go watch the movie Monday of V for Vendetta. It's on the playlist. Or Monday movies. I don't know. I only did like Hunger Games and V for Vendetta. Okay? So anyway, the reason I always talk about V for Vendetta is because of the ways in which you have really good access to see how the state, which is the president or the people in control, the fascist state, right? Not just like, I'm not talking about like Texas. I'm talking about the state, the powers that be. So anyway, the V for Vendetta does an incredible job of showing you how language is used to control the masses and the, do you need the remote? Because I lost it. Do I need to help you? Because I have a remote on my phone. I'm coming. Give me 1 sec. I'll find this word too. Actually, I already lost it. I don't even fucking know what I'm talking about. Hang on. V for Vendetta. Do you need help? I got you. Hey, if you find the remote, let me know. It's like a treasure hunt. Oh, shit. I'm thinking the wrong one. Sorry, I don't have the remote, but we have mommy's phone. Okay. Fucking dumb. Alright. So V for Vendetta does an incredible job of talking about, or like understanding how these powers that be use language to instill fear and control, right? Social control. So I know we're gonna get to our point. The point here is, though, it's literally in the wordage. Appropriate tools required. Okay, and then Facebook comes up. Okay, and like I said, it was just for college students when it initiated. Instagram didn't come out until what, 2010 or so, maybe even after that, 2012. My first Instagram post was, I think, in 2012 or 13, and I jumped on that bandwagon pretty immediately. So it hasn't always been there. Really, it's only been less than 15 years. It's wild to think about, right? Like 12 years. But in these 2 decades that these things have been around, the metadata that has been collected on people is intense, okay? I'm blushing a little bit because I'm thinking about my file. Anyway, I will always stand on the right side of history. I don't give a fuck. It would be an honor to be murdered by these motherfuckers, honestly. Okay. I mean what I say. How has social media shaped our world? People share way too much, especially with TikTok, especially with these ads now. I am seeing things that I wish I never saw. Like, there's nothing private anymore. We've normalized everything. But, like, I don't like watching zip popping, and that shit just pops up on my FYP sometimes. It's fucking disgusting. Or, like, there's a skin peel that's going around, like a foot skin peel that's going around on TikTok Shop right now. So, like, you're scrolling, and it's, like, a tarot reading, and a funny thing, and, like, a trend, and then all of a sudden you're seeing someone pulling off, like, fucking inches of their skin. God, it's so gross. So, anyway, that's how it shaped our world. It has normalized us, but it has also consumerized us, right? And TikTok wasn't that bad until this switch happened in January. But I want you to understand that when the metadata is collected, especially under the Patriot Act, it's just these tools are created, these tools being social media. Those aren't tools for us. And that's the thing about it is, there's this meme going around relatively as of late, past couple months, of talking about how people were so upset about losing TikTok, but they're literally losing their civil rights and human rights like every day, and nobody's even batting an eye, right? And that goes back to the French Revolution, or was it the Romans? I'm not sure. Some empire, dead empire somewhere, or is the empire dead or did it just transform, right? Because it feels like we're definitely, I don't know, we gotta topple this shit. But anyway, all that to say is the breads and circuses, okay? So enough distraction, enough consumerism, enough entertainment to keep people complacent in their own oppression, in their own systems, against each other, divisive against each other, things like that. And social media does this because, especially these algorithms, I'm thinking pre-inauguration day, again, because there's been a giant distinction in TikTok. It's no longer the same ownership. That was changed right before Trump got into inauguration. So the United States TikTokers are no longer having the same access to world politics that we were before Trump, before January 18th is when it happened. This year, obviously. So that's only been a couple months, okay? So when we think about social media, yeah, it's a great place to connect and like find your high school friends, but like honestly, please, who wants to do that? But for people who are in the younger generation, I don't even think kids are on Facebook, maybe. But either way, think about like, let's think about like these parents who like influencer parents who like make content of their children. That's super fucked up, okay, first of all. Second of all, like, think about how dangerous that is. Like, that sucks. Your child should be able to have their own footprint when they are at the right age to do so. And I think that because these things have, like I said, it's only been 25 years, that we've experienced it. Not even with Facebook. Facebook's only been a thing for like 20 years. TikTok came out in 2016, but people really didn't get on it at large until 2020 when the pandemic happened. I didn't join until like 2022. I don't think. It was very present in my baby's life because it was Niall's beginning of life. So I think the most important things to understand here, and the reason that this is important for hidden messages in media, is the metadata that's being collected on all of us. We don't know anything about, because none of us read that fine print. We just click OK, right? I mean, I'm sure there's a handful of people that actually read it, and they're probably lawyers. But I know I used to give a fuck, and I don't, because I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. But these tools that are listed in the Patriot Act, social media is one of them. Okay? Facebook was 2000, I think, okay, because I remember my friend Logan went to college, and he was a year older than me, and he had Facebook. So I feel like it may have been, but like I said, it was only for college students until maybe 2008 or so. And then it started opening up to, everyone's mom, okay? And then, I don't know. When did Facebook become not just for college? Let's look it up. So it started as, because Mark Zuckerberg was in college. So he started it as just like a college network kind of thing. And then he sold his soul and turned into a robot and other things. Facebook. When did Facebook become more than college students? What year? 2006. Facebook, initially a platform for Harvard students, opened its membership to the general public in 2006, allowing anyone over 13 to join. Facebook, originally The Facebook, started as a social network for Harvard students in 2004. It gradually expanded to other cultures and universities, and later to high schools and companies. And then in 2006, Facebook opened its membership to anyone with a valid email address who was 13 or older. All right. So that's wild to think about, right? That's less than 20 years that it's been open to everyone. When did Instagram? And so Instagram, I don't think Instagram started as... I think Mark Zuckerberg bought Instagram and WhatsApp. Instagram, the popular photo and video sharing social media platform, was officially launched October 6, 2010. This app was developed by Kevin and Mike. I don't care. They're probably in Doge, though. I'm not gonna lie. By looking at the names. If you know, you know. Who initially focused on a web app called Bourbon, which was inspired, blah, 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 blah. So, photo sharing. Okay, so then April 2012, Facebook acquired Instagram for approximately $1 billion in cash and stock. Okay, so that's only been, what, 2012? I'm really bad at math. 2025 minus, 2012. 13 years. That's wild to think about. So, in 13 years, and then 4 years after Instagram, TikTok came around. But all of that to say is, all of these are the tools listed in the Patriot Act to collect our metadata, find out who does what and who likes what, and, open files when necessary, right? Hi, here I am. So the pathologizing of behavior, all right? So when did Facebook, because Facebook, when it started, they only had a thumbs up button. They did not have the emojis. And we didn't even have emojis. Okay, let's look up emojis. When did emojis come out? Okay, so emojis started on iPhone, for all of you who don't know. 1997, a Japanese carrier released a phone with 90s emojis. 2008, Apple released the first version of Apple Color emoji along iPhone. 2008 is when emojis were born. So the reason I want that's so important is because the pathologizing of behavior is very much emotional control. So when did Facebook adopt more reactions? I remember it. 2016. So Facebook introduced additional reactions beyond the like button, including love, haha, wow, sad, and angry, February of 2016. That's wild, okay? So all that to say is, when Facebook started doing that, it was very obvious to me because I was in my master's program at that time. So I had already written I was finished with it. I wrote my thesis about mental illness being used as social control, specifically how the pathologizing of behavior is used to criminalize people, which is why we're talking about this for such a long topic. This grand finale of class, motherfuckers. This shit, we can change it. I think that's the main point. When you think about how the shit hasn't even been around very long, but this is all, so now we're in this like world war, civil war, Middle Eastern war, and it's snowballing because of 9/11, because of the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act, again, was written in response. We never found that. No, it wasn't Karl Marx. I keep wanting to say that, but no, it definitely wasn't. He was dead. Who wrote this book? Who wrote the Patriot Act? They're never gonna tell us. It just says that President Bush signed it. What was that guy's name? I read a book. Who was Bush's? Okay, Dick Cheney was the vice, so it wasn't him. It was this Carl guy, but I can't remember his motherfucking name. He was like George Bush's handler. Chief of Staff, cabinet members. Let's go here. This is important. Maybe he wasn't even in an official position. George W. Bush. Carl what? Who is this guy? Carl. Oh my god, this is gonna drive me fucking crazy. Hang on. Karl Rove. Oh, I'm so fucking glad we got it. Thank you, Google. Karl Rove was the political consultant and former White House Deputy Chief of Staff. Looks like a penis. They all look like penises. Ew, he's still alive. Karl Rove is an American Republican political consultant, policy advisor, and lobbyist. Oh yeah? Who are you a lobbyist for? Let me guess. Israel. Who do you lobby for, my friend? Hang on. Lobbying firm profile. Yes, I would like to see who you lobby for. So dude's still around. But he was like the brains behind the Patriot Act, if I remember correctly. Which, it could be incorrect, but that was a lot. So anyway, how has social media shaped our world? Come to your own conclusions. We already talked about the important shit. Do you see any issues with social media? I just told you what they were, motherfuckers. Okay? How do the powers that be monitor social media and those using it? Again, we already know this. A lot of people call Facebook Fedbook. Okay? How is social media used to pathologize and market to us? We already talked about that too. And what are the benefits of social media? Global connection is a benefit I see. Information, the ability to gather information and spread information and network. Those are the good things, right? So that's the thing. Instead of militarizing all of our technology, we need to think about more creative ways to use this technology for good, for building community, for building networks. And up until 2023, we weren't using it that way. And then when Palestine started happening, there was a giant shift in the way that people started using social media. And that's the path we need to continue. Regardless, we cannot let the fear of the metadata, why do you think it's called meta now? We cannot allow the fear of that information being collected to stop us from building these networks, because there are only 81 billionaires in the world, and there is a world full of 9 billion people. I don't even think you can make a fraction of that. Like, there's way more of us, so our ability to connect is what they're so fucking afraid of, which is why January 18th, more restrictive algorithms went into place on TikTok specifically. It's why the government under Genocide Joe wanted to ban TikTok, right? They don't have control of us anymore. They created these systems and these, bread and circuses to keep us complacent, but instead it has unified us at a global scale. And we've never been here. And I think every day, we need to remember that. Every day we're using social media in these ways of tools for global knowledge, for global sharing, for global networking and building and organizing and support, okay? And they're terrified, okay? And now, under Trump, people are being pathologized and criminalized for what they're putting out. Under the First Amendment, your freedom of speech, right? But then the Patriot Act, right? So these things are, and the Patriot Act was written over, 23 years ago. But it was a huge turning point in the policy in the United States. It was huge. So, yeah. And that was already written, and 9/11 was an inside job, but we'll talk about that later. I talk about it all the time. Go watch Loose Change, the movie by Dylan Avery. It's incredible. Changed my life. That was the beginning of my decolonizing and coming into consciousness journey, was Loose Change. When I found out all of that information about 9/11, and now with the new, even more information of what we're experiencing, it was even done by Zionists. And there's information in Loose Change that talks about the relationship of Israel and Zionists in the United States, and how they were the ones putting the detonation in the towers and getting access to these spaces to do so. Because no, that wasn't going to happen with a plane crashing into the top of the building. No, fuckers, you're dumb. What is this? they had strategically placed detonation in the buildings to make them go down like that, weeks beforehand. Okay, everything is an inside job. Everything has a ulterior motive as long as these empires and governments exist. And it's hidden in the media, again, because of the law of revelation. When they tell you what they're doing to your face, whether it's a Simpsons episode, whether it's, a movie, a Hollywood production, a song by an artist, they're always going to tell you what they're doing because that's the law of revelation. It alleviates karma, for them to continue doing evil goods. The only thing that can stop evil is for us to live to our full potential. Again, evil is lived backwards. I've been saying that a lot lately. And raw is war backwards, right? So even thinking about language, I love studying language, right? It's so fascinating to me. English, I'm talking about. And we already spoke on that too. It was like, well, did the Roman Empire really fall, or was it just transitioned? Because the relationship between what was Latin or Roman or I don't know into English is fascinating, and there's lots of people who study that shit. My mentor Todd has a buddy, I don't remember his name, but he came to talk to our cohort, and he studied language, specifically Latin and English, in the correlation. And again, it's all hidden. So when you wake up, when we come into consciousness, when we do our healing and we wake up our third eye and we're like, whoa, what actually is going on? It's very obvious that these things are going the way that they were meant to, right? And a lot of people in the movement say the system's broken. No. System was put together strategically to run as such, okay? There's nothing accidental about what's going or broken about this system. This system is evil. And we, the people, we have to wake up enough of us to tip it, right? Because we're in this space of a paradigm shift, and that's why the powers that be are coming down so hard right now, inducing fear, right? And I want you to know that would have been done under Kamala Harris in a different way. It would have looked like fundies for cop studies and all of this other funding at other ways, right? It wouldn't be this blatant, but it still would exist, okay? Both Democrats and Republicans work together, okay? Your social media, it's for their benefit, not your life, okay? So, with that information, do what you will, use it how you wish to use it. But I think the most important thing is how we can continue networking with each other, regardless of what governments are doing, and stay in the loop with what other people are doing to resist, to fight back, to share information about what's really happening. Okay? Have a good one. Oh, you all get an A. Okay, bye.